What origin should I choose? A question for every Deep Woken player who is making their new slot, but for PvE players, the obvious and constant answer is Deepbound, and I won't dispute that. But hear me out. The Ignition Origin. It has been slandered by many, complaints left and right about Sid Hollow, which I do agree on, but hear me out. My experience progging PvE with the Ignition Origin, well, the overworld one, me and the boys hate Chariot Spire. Anywho, I'll be talking about the pros and cons between Deepbound and Ignition Union. I'll be explaining each pro, and the cons would be pretty obvious, so I'll keep the explanation for those shorter. Firstly, I'll list out the pros and cons of the Ignition compared to Deepbound. For the pros, we have the mobile job board, Sid Hollow, access to Trial of One, Ignition Forge, and almost the same time taken to progress as a Deepbound. As for the cons, we have Castle of Light commodities are inaccessible, no Call of the Deep, no insanity healing in the depths, and unable to enter Castle Light if you died in the overworld. Now that we've listed all of those, let's go over them. The mobile job board, or the Union Pager, allows you to get jobs from every job board luminant-wide. This means you no longer have to find a job board to claim a job, and it allows you to farm reputation with the faction listing the jobs. This works in the depths too. Sid Hollow. Firstly, it needs a rework, as some maps are wonky and the mobs just fall into the lava and you have to fight them while burning, which is annoying. But it is a safer way of progression than being in the depths, having the constant fear of wiping, if not to mobs, but to players. Sid Hollow also contains amazing loot, such as legendary weapons, relics, and a lot of sellable gear which can be used as a note farm. Access to Trial 1. Well, this should be self-explanatory. You'll be able to leave the trial at Power 7 if you have Autodidact as a boon, and Power 6 without it in just 15 minutes. Your progression will be fast-tracked due to that. The Ignition Forge. There's been a few videos that have shown this, but I don't think people understand how useful it actually is. Farming dungeons such as Diluvian or Sid Hollow gives you a lot of relics, specifically pluripotent alloy. With the Ignition Furnace, you're able to trade 3 of those for 1 Smith alloys and 9 for 1 Armorer's Needle. Being a PvE or a PvP player, Armorer Needles are highly needed to min-max the god rolls on your equipment. As for progression, having the Union Pager, Sid Hollow, and access to Trial of One with zero risk of wiping throughout your whole progression, it gives you almost the same time as Deepbound to finish a build. Now the cons. I'll go over them quickly. Being unable to access the commodities, you are unable to access the Antiquarian, Banker, Mystic, Blacksmith, as well as the Campfire to heal your sanity. Having no Call of the Deep means you have no quick access to the depths, and dying in the overworld won't let you access Castle of Light. Now that I've gone through all of that, I'd like to say that this is my personal opinion and experience as a PvE player, and honestly, you're free to choose whichever origin you'd like to use, as that's what Deep Woken is known for, the mass variety of builds and options. That's all I have to say. Have a nice day, afternoon, or night. Bye-bye.